It's 2025 and you're considering starting a homestead. And I take my hat off to you. It is a great opportunity to build self-sufficiency and a knowledge for what you need to really live and thrive in life. But there's a lot that goes into it. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about really what you need to do before you get started with building your own homestead or really working towards any level of self-sufficiency. While I'm talking today, I'm going to actually be planting some more lettuce out here in one of our raised garden beds. Kind of the same method that I've shown in one of my other videos. We're going to be using some of that leftover seed tape to get that planted. But I thought this was a great opportunity to talk to you guys about, again, a couple of things that you should consider before you start homesteading. So that said, I'm going to go ahead and get started with this as we continue to talk.
Good.
So when it actually comes to homesteading, it's really not an aspect of owning property, farming, gardening, or really a combination of anything. It's more a state of mind as to what or how you want to live your life. For me, I want to build a certain level of self-sufficiency. I don't want to be completely off-grid. There's plenty of homesteaders that want that. But at the same time, I wanted to build a property here that my family would be proud of, that would provide my daughter and I with a lot of healthy fruits and vegetables, and really was something that as I get older and I get to retirement age, something that I can continue to support and grow off from while also providing back to me. So really, homesteading is a frame set of mind, and you have to have an understanding of what your goals are for homesteading. I really encourage you, if you are considering homesteading or starting a homestead, that you really start off with getting a plan first. And I'm not talking about a rough idea, I'm talking about a very solid outline of where or how you want to succeed. For some, it's going to be raising your own meat, producing all of your own food in a short period of time. For others, like myself, that's not my goal. My goal is to supplement my food and to really provide an alternative and a hobby for me to get out and to stay healthy. Now, with that said, you don't need to start with everything at once. With homesteading, that's a great aspect of it. You can build on your homestead over time. I've owned my property now here for 5 years, and I am nowhere near done. But that's something that you have to consider. Don't rush into it. Your plans are going to change, and that's fine. You still need to have a detailed outline or understanding of where your end result's going to be, but your method or approach to reach that end result can change, and it's going to change quite often. You know, it's funny, this lettuce tape, I don't know if I'm quite sold on it. In fact, I think I'm not, but we're going to see how it goes. Now, after you have your plan and you know how you want to achieve your goals, you can't be afraid to learn new things. Homesteading is all about learning, and YouTube is a great opportunity, a great place to find video on content on areas that you don't know about. For me, there are certain aspects of gardening that I didn't know and I had to turn to YouTube. There's areas of working on my equipment to building my hoop house. All of these topics, I gained information from YouTube, and YouTube is a great resource. If you haven't already, I do please ask that you subscribe to this video, especially if you're thinking about starting a homestead, because this is a great opportunity to learn as I continue to grow my channel and continue to grow my homestead here. But really, having that understanding that you're going to be learning throughout the entire process is very important. Here goes that second row, and I got to say that this compost is actually looking really great, so I'm hoping this lettuce grows really well this year. Look at this. Now that brings in the next area of discussion here, which is commitment. Homesteading is a major commitment no matter what way you look at it. It can be a financial commitment, but most of all, it's going to be a time commitment. If you're growing a garden, you have to come out, pull weeds, plant your seedlings or your seeds. You have to come out and water your plants, fertilize, and pull weeds again. It's a continuous cycle, and it takes up a lot of time. If you add animals to your homestead, and a lot of people like to start with chickens, which is a great prospect, but if you add animals to your homestead, that is an additional layer of commitment. You have to get up, feed them, clean their stalls, collect eggs if they're chickens, again, clean their stalls again. It is an endless cycle of work, but it is rewarding and it is worth it if that is what your end result is for your homestead. So you have to understand that on average, I would say when you're starting a homestead, you need to plan on about 8 hours a week, getting it started at a bare minimum.
Yeah, here. I do that.
All right, guys. Well, the next area is understanding your limits and setting reasonable expectations. If you have a 1/4 of an acre property, you have to know what you can achieve on that property, and it's still quite a bit, but you have to be realistic about it. You're not going to have the same goals as someone with a 10-acre homestead or someone with a 5 or 25-acre homestead. So make sure that your expectations align with your financial means, the time that you can provide your homestead, and really the space that you have available to you. It doesn't mean that later on you can't add to your homestead, but it certainly is important to set those expectations appropriately before you ever begin. And I have to say again, this lettuce tape, I'm not quite sold on it. So hopefully it grows well, and I'm going to continue to give you guys updates. And I'm going to go ahead, and I think I have one small portion here that I'm going to dive in. And then that leads us to our next topic. Don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. Homesteading is a messy, dirty experience, but it's great. But you're going to be working with manure if you have animals. You're going to be working in the soil if you have a garden. I have a friend who raises bees, and we had bees prior. It's a lot of work, and you have to be able to get in and clear brush out and work on your lawn and work in compost and dirt and manure and lots of different areas. So if you're afraid to get dirty, homesteading might not be for you. All right, guys. Well, like I said a minute ago, homesteading is a time commitment, but with that time commitment comes quite a bit of reward. Right here in this raised bed is garlic that I planted just a couple of weeks ago, and you can see how great it's doing. I have more garlic that I planted last winter or into summer behind me that's also thriving. I have onion that is looking amazing. I have tons of seedlings in my hoop house. I have some lettuce growing on the other side of my property. And while I haven't quite harvested anything out here yet this year, it's just going to be a couple of weeks until that happens. And again, the reward that you get from homesteading can be fantastic. So just because you might not have all the time in the world, you might not have a lot of money or a lot of property to work with, homesteading can really align with whatever aspect of life that you're in. In fact, I knew a lady a couple of years ago, and I've shared this story on the channel here a couple of times, that she was elderly. She lived in an apartment complex, and well, what she would do was she would bake all kinds of good baked goods like pies, cakes, cookies, all those kinds of things, and she would sell it at the end of the road at her apartment. She'd take all the profit from that. She'd go to her local produce stands that sold the fruits, and she would get more and continue to bake. And she was able to make some kind of passive income while doing that, which really resulted in an ability for her to build some self-sufficiency. She didn't own any property, she didn't have really any special skills other than baking, and yet she would consider herself a homesteader. So with that said, no matter what you do, no matter how much property you have or what your financial means are, you have an ability to homestead. And I really encourage you, if it's something that you are committed in and something that you really find enjoyment in, such as myself, then go ahead and give it a try. But make sure that you're not just doing it for a year. Make sure you're giving it at least 2 or 3 years to see if it's something that you like and to see if it's something that you are gaining some kind of reward from. So with that said, guys, I really do hope that you enjoyed today's video. If you guys have any questions or comments, please leave it in the comment section below and I'd be happy to get to it. And with that said, guys, I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.